I think this is a big negative with Vrabel.
Yeah.
And I don't think he has a lot of cons as a head coach. There's a lot of good things he brings to the table. We saw it all year. There weren't a lot of losses, but when they lose, he can't handle the heat.
No, and there was very few opportunities for him to talk after a loss. Like, that team was nasty this year. They lost games early in the year, but we hadn't built up the expectations yet, right? Like, they lost 2 of their first 3 games, and then they only lost, 2 more games after that?
Yep.
So there weren't a lot of times for him to hit the podium and talk about things that maybe he would have done differently. It's a lot easier, and he had a couple good lines where he's like, hey, we'd rather learn from things than a win, right? Not that you play a perfect game wire to wire, but if you win, there's at least that, and you can be like, hey, we should have done this differently, we should have done that, but bottom line is we're 8-2, or whatever the record was. So we don't really know. I mean, I guess we do, but it's a small sample size of when the team has really high expectations and when the team is rolling the way that they are, and then when things don't go their way, how does he respond to them? And, one of them was the Bills game, and then the other one is not until the Super Bowl. But this is also the first one where it's not as bad. So, if you lost at home to the Chargers, I think there's a lot more questions. You're the favorite in that game. If you lost at home to the Texans with no Nico Collins, there would have been a lot more questions. If you lose to a backup quarterback, all 3 of those, they were able to pass. And then this was the one where it was the first time going into it where you're like, all right, it kind of is house money. They're not expected to win. Everybody nationally is picking the Seahawks to win. They're 4.5-point favorites. They were for 2 straight weeks. And they lost. Now, that doesn't mean you wouldn't do anything differently, or maybe you wouldn't answer things differently, or maybe you can still get out-coached, right, even though you're going up against a team that's better. That's where you have to kind of find close the margins a little bit. If they have more talent, which I guess we were probably wrong on our tiers when we were doing the players.
In retrospect, the Seahawks fans were right. We were wrong, yes.
Let's say they have more talent. Well, then the next thing would be, all right, can you have the coaching advantage? And especially in football compared to the other sports, if you do, what does that steal you? That steal you a couple of points. And wasn't the case on Sunday, and I guess now we have to wait and see how they respond.